Literally, just as I made my video on how Mark Zuckerberg should be arrested for all the shit that he has done over the decades of his existence, the FTC is charging Meta, his darling empire, with an antitrust lawsuit claiming that Meta is an illegal monopoly. This is fantastic news. It is breaking news. The lawsuit has been going on since the first Trump administration, but this is a major development, and I do believe that it is going to lead somewhere. Where exactly, I'm not entirely sure, but something big is on the table. They want to break up Meta. So in case you don't know, Meta is actually not just Facebook, the Facebook Messenger and the Facebook app. It is also Instagram and WhatsApp. And Meta, or Facebook at the time, never actually built neither Instagram and WhatsApp. Both of these apps were acquired for a lot of money by Facebook because Facebook saw the massive potential of these apps to break through the market and potentially threaten Facebook's existence. So he needed to act on that. And he pretty much only had two options. Either build something that is going to emulate what Instagram is doing and what WhatsApp is doing, and then use the leverage of Facebook already being known, trying to get it more dominant than Instagram and WhatsApp. But that is risky, and even though you could still build those very same things and you have the leverage of Facebook to just push it to your audiences, to your customers and users, you still have to compete with Instagram and WhatsApp. The second strategy that you can go for is much better in this case, and that strategy is to just buy them out. If you can buy them, then you have no competition. You can then decide if you want to shut them down or continue with their products because they're yours, and you can monetize them however you want to. And that's exactly what happened in Instagram, which was acquired for $1 billion in 2012, which does sound like a lot, but then WhatsApp, only 2 years later, was acquired for $19 billion. And that was really insane, kind of flabbergasting to be honest, because what money was there in WhatsApp? WhatsApp has never really made that much money to be honest, and WhatsApp was becoming end-to-end encrypted, implementing the Signal protocol into the content of the messages, so Facebook would not be, or Zuckerberg would not be able to monetize what you're writing about to your contacts through WhatsApp. Instagram, that was a lot clearer, like this is an open photo sharing app that has no privacy whatsoever built into it. It was never going to be private whatsoever. Zuckerberg would be able to monetize that just as much as he was able to monetize Facebook, just with a different kind of audience, mostly with the younger audience that were growing more favorable towards Instagram as opposed to Facebook. And it stayed that way until TikTok, essentially. But now with the lawsuit that's going on with the FTC charging Meta for building this up as a monopoly power, which could be illegal, we have found something very sinister that was going on throughout this entire process of acquisitions and mergers. And we know this because the FTC actually leaked the emails that Zuckerberg was sending to his employees all the way back in 2011 and throughout that time. And in one of these, he says, if Instagram continues to kick ass on mobile, or if Google buys them, then over the next few years, they could easily add pieces of their service that copy what we are doing now. And this is what he wrote all the way back in 2011. He was very afraid of Instagram. He says that Instagram could hurt us meaningfully. It is pretty threatening to us. He is saying that Facebook would be very behind on how its core use cases would evolve in the mobile world, which is really scary, and we might want to consider paying a lot of money for Instagram. This is what Zuckerberg also wrote in 2012. And then they are considering this strategy of either we build things or not. And he's saying that instead of just building things, we could do a more traditional build versus buy analysis. And this is coming at the time when Facebook is approaching its initial public offering, which means they're going to have a lot of money from investors. They're going to be a lot more liquid, and they're going to be able to afford, buying something as large as Instagram, even for that amount of money. Now, the thing here is that if this results in Meta being guilty, they could be compelled to actually undo all of these acquisitions of WhatsApp and Instagram, especially Instagram, because that's a big one, right? WhatsApp is big too, but it's just a messenger mostly. Instagram is a whole social media platform on its own. Actually, in another article from that I've been following this as the story was developing, and as Zuckerberg attended the court for the second day, we found from another revelation of emails that Zuckerberg actually wanted to split off Instagram and make it an independent company, because he was aware that all of these acquisitions and mergers that Facebook has done and the dominance and popularity of all of these Meta apps are really posing big threats, and they are really raising alarms with regulators that will want to do something about the power that Meta now holds. In 2018, in confidential email communications, Zuckerberg told his Meta executives that calls to break up the big tech companies grow, and there is a non-trivial chance that we will be forced to spin out Instagram and perhaps WhatsApp in the next 5 to 10 years. That's in 2018, and that's during, I think, the Trump administration, right? This is the administration that actually started all of these antitrust investigations. They all continued throughout the Biden administration. They were also persistent in this. Also, throughout the Biden administration, Google was actually ruled to be an illegal monopoly, and now we are in that phase with the Google trial of what kind of remedies are going to be argued for by FTC. And in case of Google, they also want to break up the company. How they want to do that is not exactly clear, because you could go about multiple ways, definitely splitting off search versus, let's say, the browser, Chrome browser or Android. But with Facebook, it is a lot clearer. Like, you have these three major apps, WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook, and you could easily argue that they should be separate companies. And that's what the FTC probably wants to argue. The problem that I have with this trial is that the FTC is trying to argue that Facebook is a monopoly based off the app screen time, which they argue is 85%. And immediately, Meta's lawyers have jumped in and said that, well, that's only if you exclude YouTube and TikTok. If you include those, then Meta apps only have 30% of the total screen time. And I find that to be a weird metric anyway. Facebook and Instagram are monopolies, or Meta is a monopoly by the virtue of owning them, because you don't have any other social media app. The FTC is trying to argue with a nuance that Facebook is not in competition with TikTok. And that might sound ridiculous, but in a sense, I actually do agree with that argument, because TikTok is a whole different app. Yes, every major social media app, including YouTube and Instagram, now has the reels or the shorts that TikTok has brought in, but you don't really have that same level of experience that you have on TikTok anywhere else. TikTok is just, you're just scrolling mindlessly and you're just watching new content and you're not really interacting. Whereas on YouTube, you are actually interacting with your audience. You have the comment section, which is very big. And on Facebook, it is just the comment section, right? The content is less relevant than the comments and the discussion that's going to spin out of that, right? That, I think, is going to be very interesting to follow in the courts. I hope that they find some level of argument where Meta could be actually ruled to be an illegal monopoly, because that's absolutely 100% the case, what they were trying to do. And I think they do have that. Like, you don't have any other Facebook. You don't have an alternative to Facebook. There are Fediverse apps that exist, Mastodon or Lemmy or PixelFed, and now Loops, which is trying to be a TikTok alternative. But none of these are meaningfully threatening the existence or the dominance of Meta's apps. Like, that's not even a question there. But interesting from these emails is that Mark Zuckerberg is admitted that if we wanted to keep the apps together, we might not be able to. And he also said in 2018 that, I wonder if we should consider the extreme step of spinning Instagram out as a separate company. And then he says that while most companies resist breakups, the corporate history is that most companies actually perform better after they've been split up. So he's not too resistant out of that, but he's kind of like feeling this remorse, because then he's saying, I'm not saying that we should actually do this now, but as we consider it, we should keep in mind that there is a real chance that all our work to build a family of apps may be something we don't get to keep.
Never give up on the family of apps.
And that I personally find hilarious. Like, he's literally going to cry over losing one of his apps, because for him, that's family. Like, that's all that you need to know about Mark Zuckerberg and him not being a robot or android or some sort of a lizard person sent to us from an alien race trying to control us. I'm obviously joking there, right? No conspiracies, please. I've actually covered this on my Patreon too in a much greater detail and much more in depth. So go ahead and subscribe to my Patreon, become a member, and help me make these videos a lot more often, a lot more in depth, perhaps. Just help me sustain my existence, because I haven't taken any sponsor, and I'm not open to taking sponsors that would conflict with the privacy tutorials that I'm making on my channel. I am open to sponsorship in the future, but I really need to have this ability to say no to anyone I want to or need to. And for that, I'm going to need your support. And I really want to remain independent off of all of these private interests and for-profit interests that pretty much everyone else on this platform in this privacy sphere and essay sphere is exposing themselves to, unfortunately. So thank you very much. Have a good one, and goodbye.